Watch out! Oh, that was a rough landing this week. Be quiet. Whew. Once again, deep within the bowels of historic downtown St. John's, Newfoundland, from an undisclosed location comes In the Library of Graphic Literature with your host, this guy here, Wallace Ryan. How's everyone doing there today? Cheers. Little sip of tea to begin this this week. Now this week I only have actually 4 books to look at, but I actually, you can see a huge stack here, and I decided I'll show people a little bit of my reading stack. I'm not going to, of course, go through them at any length, but I'm going to let you know, show you what I'm reading. A lot of the books I have recently reviewed, but I figured I'd just go through and show them to you anyway. And with no further ado, let's get down to work here. So it was another very warm week here up in the North Atlantic, but beautiful, of course. Actually, I spent this week. I teach art, amongst other things that I do, and I spent a great week with a great bunch of kids doing a course called Drawing Downtown. And of course, I take them all around the historic area, and we draw to our heart's content. And it was a great laugh. Not only that, I had my favorite little assistant, Sophia, was giving me a hand. Thanks a lot, Sophia. You're the greatest. In between, I got to do a bit of reading, read some comics. So let's have a look here. Now, what do we have up here first? First of all, we have from the Michael Moorcock Library, The Chronicles of Coram, the Queen of the Swords. These books, I actually read these in the novel form in the 70s as a kid, and I have to say, in terms of imagination, there's no one that, well, there are some, like Kirby and others, but Michael Moorcock has one of the most amazing imaginations in this world, and all his books, let alone the comic book adaptations of them, but his books are well worth reading. Now here, today we have Chronicles of Coram, the Queen of the Swords, from Mike Barron and Mike Mignola. Surely one of my favorite artists, and of course it's super cool. These of course come from the first comic series, which I miss. I missed first comics, you know, they were a cool kind of company. But they published some cool stuff, including this book. So, of course, it's obviously early Mike Mignola, but of course even early Mike Mignola is cool Mike Mignola. Coram, of course, this is yet another chapter in the Eternal Champion cycle. Now, it's been so long since I read these as a kid that I really actually have no idea what's going on in this. So this actually is probably, will go right into my reading stack. The volume before that is actually already in my reading stack, so this will go right on top of it because I got to catch up with these. Okay, so that's Coram. Oh, and here we go, our first unwrapping of today, and this is Spider-Man Kraven's Last Hunt Deluxe Edition. Now, I'm not a huge, I mean, I always liked Spider-Man, and, you know, it was kind of cool. I loved the cartoon series in the 60s, and, you know, well, I guess I was a fan to some extent. Strangely enough, though, I never really collected a lot of his comics. I actually collected more Marvel 2-in-1, which is kind of weird when you think about it. Or not Marvel 2-in-1, the Marvel Team-Up. And I liked them. And, you know, occasionally I did buy, get off me! I did buy the occasional Spider-Man comic here and there. And one of the ones that I did buy, and I don't know why I bought it at the time, but was the start of the Kraven's Last Hunt storyline. It looked kind of cool to me, and so I figured, oh, I'll pick this up and read it. And still to this day, to me, it's one of the most amazing Spider-Man stories out there. I don't know why they haven't sort of adapted this into a movie. It would make a super cool movie. In the meantime, let's have a look at it here. Of course, there it is. Writer J.M. DeMatteis, penciler Mike Zeck. Mike Zeck I think one of the most one of the most underrated comic book artists from the 80s and the 90s. I loved his short Punisher series. Absolutely stunning. I wish we could see more of his stuff. But hey, in the meantime, what a story. Here we go. So obviously, because it's his last hunt, it actually is his last hunt. I'm not going to tell you how it turns out in the end. I'm not going to spoil it for you folks out there. But what a story. And there's the conclusion, which I'm going to jump over because I don't want you to see what happens there. And then there's a few more things thrown in behind just for good measure. And of course some cool extra features here in the back. I love these extra features there too, just to be able to have a look at some of the cool stuff, the cool sketches, the scripts. I love looking at the scripts and the, you know, the whole 9 yards. Anyway, that is Spider-Man, Kraven's Last Hunt. Highly, highly recommended. Okay, second last book, new book of this week anyway, from Dan Yips and Freddie Milton, Donald Duck, The Great Survival Test. Now, I started collecting this Disney Master series because, well, I'm collecting the Don Rosa library, the Carl Barks library. I'm a big Duck fan, so when these started coming out with a lot of work from some of the more classic European artists, I just had to have it because a lot of the stuff I've never read or wouldn't have access. So when I heard that Fantagraphics was doing the Disney Master series, I flipped out and I had to have them. So these are ones that I'm definitely going to collect, all of them. My friend Sam Johnson, who actually turned me on and informs me a lot about Disney comics and all that. He's actually, yeah, this is one he's going to be getting too. So this is for you, Sam. Anyway, the wide range of different artists' stories here. But yeah, I like this. I like his take on the ducks. I like the way he draws them. It kind of reminds me a little bit more. It at least looks to me more like the Dan Rose, Carl Barks. There's something about it seems more like the good old-fashioned stuff than sort of a new style. Some of the other artists who have slightly different style, kind of like it, kind of don't. But anyway, Disney Masters as a series, you got to pick this up, especially for any duck fanatic out there like me. Quack quack. Whew. Now, of course, it is actually still pretty warm here tonight. You can probably see the sweat on my brow, but that ain't stopping me. So, the other cool thing this week had to get is Jim Starlin's Marvel Cosmic Artifact Edition. Woo. Now, usually I like artists' editions, but I'm not a huge fan of artifact editions. But I am a huge fan of Jim Starlin. So if you're out there, Jim, I love you. So when I seen this, it was just like, oh, I got to have it. I got to have it. And even looking at it now, I'm glad I did. Pretty cool. Hey, I always loved this cover from Strange Tales. I do believe that was the Strange Tales one, was it? I think so. Anyway, yeah, it was. And I love artifact and artist editions because you can see all the cool whiting out, all the things that people have done on the original artwork. Myself too, as an artist myself, I still prefer actually drawing on paper. Number one, I think it's faster than doing it digitally. Not only that, these days in terms of the economic advantage is if you do original art on paper, then at the end of it, depending on which company you're doing it for, you'll get your pages back, or at least some of your pages back. Then you can turn around and sell them yourself. And in some cases, if there's a big enough demand for your work, you might even be able to sell them for even more than you were actually paid for to do the page in the first place. So this is why I always ask or encourage younger artists to stick to paper. It's one thing to do all the fancy special effects and coloring after on Photoshop. Who wouldn't do that? It's a big improvement over the old thing, but give it a try for any of you folks out there who are actually into drawing comics. Now let's see, have a look here. Okay, oh yeah, Marvel 25, 11, yeah. So yeah, a bunch of pages from each different one. Now all these, of course, I have in hardcover and well, I have the entire, as people who know me, I have the entire Captain Marvel, Masterworks series. This is one of my favorite stories, Metamorphosis. This is where he gains cosmic awareness. And here's some earlier ones. I love Starlin's work. Huge Starlin fan. As a matter of fact, I think I'm even too close there for you to get a good look at it there. There's another great issue, When Titans Collide. Dan Green doing the inks. And a good job at the inks too on that one. There's the old controller. And then this is another one from the Metamorphosis issue. Including that one there. I remember getting that issue actually. I remember getting a lot of these issues. Anyway, for you fans of Jim Starlin, this is something you got to get your hand on. Oh, and there's the Magus. Love the Magus. He is so cool. Magus and Thanos fighting together. Oh, and even some cool Warlock stuff mixed in with there. But yeah, cool cover. Had all these. I loved all these. Oh, sweet. There it is there. Warlock. And I was, of course, a huge Warlock fan. I love that. I love that almost as much as I loved his run on Captain Marvel. So, for you cosmic fans, run out and get yourself this baby. Whew. Wow, it's getting hot in here. So, that's all the new books for this week. Not a lot, I know. But I'm always talking with friends of mine about my reading stack and stuff like that. Now, my true reading stack is probably about 6 feet high, and I am not joking. But I figured I went through it and I pulled out basically all the books that are on the top of my stack. These are the ones that I'm reading first before anything else. So I thought I'd just go through a bunch of these, and I'm not going to review or talk about them at any length because a lot of them I have reviewed on other shows and stuff like that. So have a look back and have a look at some of those. So let's see Wallace's reading stack for this month. I love listening to that sound of a comic book rack spinning around like that. Spin, baby, spin. Okay, so first of all is Volume 1 and Volume 2 of Monsters, the Marvel Monster Bus by Lee, Lieber, and Kirby. Of course, this is all the classic Jack Kirby monster comics. So, whoop, there goes my, and you can see a lot of these will actually have, bookmarks in among them. Jeez, I hope I put this back in the same one. Well, I think I did. I hope I did. Okay, anyway. So, for any of you people, let alone if you're Kirby fans, if you're a fan of the old Monster era, this one and Volume 2 are definitely one to get. I'm hoping that they actually do monster buses for Ditko's work too. So, what else do we have here in the old stack? Oh, Tom King, Mitch Gerard, the Sheriff of Babylon. I'm just a little bit into that, but I'm loving that so far. Pretty cool. Of course, Inside Mobius Part 2. You gotta love this if you're a Mobius fan. So I'm a good, a fair way into that. Aces High. I'm a huge fan of the old EC books and all that. I like, I mean, I love a lot of the old artists too, especially here. You have George Evans, Jack Davis, Wally Wood. Great artists and great books. I love, I love the EC archives. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, look, and here's my special bookmark. This is in, and I gotta finish this one next, I think, you know. It's volume 3 of the master edition of Lock and Key. And these I love. I had the original hardcover, the thinner hardcover books, but I ended up, when they came out with these, instead of having 6 books, I thought, hey, it's cooler to have it in 3, and they're beautifully done too. Really nice. I love the layout, the look of it. Almost has something. It almost looks like a mystical text of some sort. And next is USS Stevens, the collected stories, Sam Klansman. These I always liked, and I'm just a little bit into this one too. This is from Dover. So if any of you are war comic fans, give this one a shot. Of course, The Kid Cowboys of Boys Ranch from Joe Simon and Jack Kirby. The cool thing about this book actually is invoice details from Simon Comics. So I bought this actually off Joe's son Jim. So this actually comes from the collection of Joe Simon. So that's pretty cool. But really cool. I like Boys Ranch. Really, if there's anyone who can draw great horses, great cowboy stories, it's Kirby. But hey, why can't he do? Next is the Green Hand and Other Stories. This is I used to read these when it ran in heavy metal, and absolutely adored it. So when I seen it come out from the New York Review of Comics, I just had to have it. I love Nicole Clavalou's art style. There's just something to it. It's funny because I was more of a Mobius or Drury fan, or even a Corbin fan, but something about this one just spoke to me. I don't know what it is. Speaking of heavy metal, and of course this I just reviewed the other week, I René Tardy, Prisoner of War in Stalag 2B by Jacques Tardy. And of course, who doesn't like some Tardy? Oh, here we go. And the Bronze Age House of Secrets Omnibus Volume 1. I love all the old DC mystery titles from the early 70s and all that, because they had a lot of great art and a lot of great, soon-to-be great artists. Runaways by Brian K. Vaughan. This was recommended to me by my Omni buddy Dennis Osborne, and Dennis, thank you very much. Great one. Well, next and if not last is the Punisher Volume 2 Omnibus and Punisher Volume 1 Omnibus by Garth Ennis. This is the Punisher Max series. Man, there's no one who does, except for that series by Zek, the mini-series. There's no one who's really done the Punisher, I think, as well as Garth Ennis. Maybe Jason Aaron. But, great man, great man. So anyway, these are the books that I'm in the middle of reading now. And some people will laugh and say, how can you be reading all these books at once? I don't know. I really don't know. So, I guess that's enough of me for this week. We're going to end under 20 minutes, I think, this week, I'm hoping. If you folks down there, if you like the 20-minute format, which I try to stick to, or do you think I should do more of a 15-minute format? Let me know anyway. In the meantime, I am going to do a few other specials, stuff like that, because I've been writing down and notating all the requests people have been making of me, and the suggestions they've been giving me for different show ideas, and I'm going to start see if I can't fit them in my regular show. I'm going to start doing a few special editions. So, that being said, I love you all. And that's another episode of In the Library of Graphic Literature, coming to you once again from downtown St. John's. So with that, love and kisses from the missus. Keep on reading. See you guys.